Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of Cash That. I'm your host, Joe Dellera, and we are going to be breaking down Survivor 50. So for that, I had to bring in two of the guys, one of the future Jays, your other futures analyst, Brandon Anderson. So we got Brandon Anderson, Jim Turvey, and myself, Joe Dellera, and we are going to break down this really awesome season. So it's going to be really fun. It's coming out on the channel. For those of you that are new here, the algo's just kicking you in right now. It's normally a sports betting podcast. We talk about the NBA. So be sure to rate, subscribe. Really appreciate it. It helps me do this for you guys, put out that work. And we're probably going to be dropping a quick best bets episode as well on today's slate. So guys, how you guys doing? We'll start with Brandon. How are you doing today, dude?
I mean, we're finally at season 50. We've been waiting for this for an entire year now. So I've spent my entire day prepping for this ridiculous podcast that we're recording right now and listening to all these preseason interviews. And it feels good. Excited for Survivor to be back in our lives.
All right, Jim, how you doing?
Good. I'm very excited for this. Brandon put it together an amazing rundown that me and you have just kind of parachuted in and filled out. But I am super hyped for 50. Brandon will kind of touch on each of our histories with the show, but I kind of got into it a little bit later. But this group chat, the three of us, basically NBA and Survivor is 98% of what we talk about. So,
yeah.
And it's a busy group chat. So there's a lot of Survivor talk. So I think it'll be fun. I think it should be a pretty good rundown here.
No, it should be sick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it off to Brandon and let you kind of take the reins in the show as the Survivor aficionado out of the three of us.
Yeah, so just to kind of set it up at the top, season 50, obviously is what we're talking about. Season 50 starts, I think the day this drops, Wednesday, February the 25th. It's a 3-hour debut. CBS, Paramount Plus, get your Paramount. You can watch all the old episodes and everything. We will not spoil anything for season 50 because we don't know anything for season 50. I don't know. Joe's on Reddit all the time. Joe might know everything about season 50. Here's the setup. No spoilers for season 50. Spoilers abound for seasons 1 to 49 because it's all returning players. These are the legends and also the recent players that we put all together for some reason. So yeah, if you aren't ready to hear that so-and-so finished third place in season whatever, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about it. That's going to be in here, but there'll be nothing spoiling what we are watching coming up ahead. I've seen every season, I think 3-4 times at least. Jim has been on the Survivor journey. I think I counted on his doc today, 33 seasons out of 49 so far. Yo, I estimated 12 to 15 for you. Is that low? Are you higher than that?
I think it might be a touch higher than that, maybe closer to 20, but it's still pales in comparison.
So the new era of Survivor started post 40. So we all three have seen seasons 41 through 49, and that's what half of the people in the season are from. We will have our Survivor draft. I think we've done that on this podcast or the Bet She Wins podcast. We may be back again with an episode of that eventually. That's part of what fills up our group chat. Format for this tonight, we're going to do a big picture outlook. We'll go through each tribe, 3 tribes of 8, 24 people on this season, the most we've ever had in American Survivor, at least. I think Australian and others have done a lot of folks. And then this is a betting podcast, so it's all betting today. We're going to give you lots of betting and fake odds on everything. Again, none of this is real. Call sheet, hit us up. You can give us some odds for this stuff to bet. But again, these are not spoiler odds. These are Brandon odds. These are just I looked at the stuff and kind of calculated what I thought. And also, if you're not a betting person, you just like Survivor, you can listen too. So just a very tiny primer. If you hear us say something like plus 300, what that means is 3-1 odds. So if you wanted to bet $1, you win $3 if that's the pick. Plus 1,000, just get rid of the last 2 zeros. 1,000 is 10-1. If you hear a minus number, you're not going to hear that a lot. Minus number means you're the odds on favor. You got to bet $1 to win less than $1. So we probably won't get a lot of those out. That's not really the style for any of the three of us here. So we're just going to have fun with it. All the odds are fake. We have 50 questions for season 50 and hard out coming. So we're going. You guys ready?
Hell yeah. The only thing I want to caveat is you said spoilers bound for people, but none for 50. Also, don't send us spoilers. Please do not send me Kalshi odds for season 50. I will never talk to you again. There are spoilers everywhere. I do not want to see them. Do not send them to me. I think that goes for all three of us.
I guess at least the one good thing is that I think we have a live finale, so we can't have the winner spoiled in theory. So let's not.
We don't want to know spoilers for season 50. We don't know if we have a live finale. That will be my transition into our big picture outlook here, because this is Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans. We finally have a title for a season for the first time in 10 seasons. And I don't know, it's probably going to be a disaster. We decided to let the fans vote on a bunch of crap. And so all last season, we were voting on, should we give them rice? And what color are the tribes? We know the answer to that one already. We've got like teal and pink and green. I guess we're real excited. Oh, good job, everyone. We picked some nice colors. So I don't know. Jim, what do you think about the whole in the hands of the fans? And did you vote when this was out? Do you care about this voting stuff?
I like semi-care. I did not vote. I in part because I'll defend myself saying this way. It's like the person who didn't vote in the election and then complains about the election. But I will say this: I try to avoid everything online for Survivor, even leading up to 50, because I still am at only 33 of 50 scenes. So I don't want to see some of the spoilers out there. So I try to avoid engaging with Survivor stuff online because I fear that it will spoil stuff that I message you all the time, Brandon, as I'm working through old seasons. So I still am on my journey. So I try to avoid engaging with that stuff on social media. But yeah, I kind of care. I think some of it's interesting. I certainly care who's there. I know there's a lot of haters of who is there. I think it's, if we zoom out, it's a good crew. If you zoom in, it's like, oh yeah, we could have had this person, that person, this person, that person. But I think overall, it should be a good season. There's going to be some corny stuff that we're going to hate, but overall it's Survivor. Like the worst Survivor is still like the best of most seasons of TV. So I can't complain overall.
Yeah. So we get to vote on, will there be a live reunion reveal? So I have to, most of the votes, it's like we clearly know what the entire Twitter sphere wants to vote for, though, you know, we've thought about other voting things in life and been surprised by results too. So who knows how this stuff will go. Joe, I'm giving you the first betting question of the day. For like 15, 20 seasons at least now, we've had a final three on every season. It used to be final two back in the day. We had final three forever. Who knows what they will do? Who knows what sort of twist they'll throw at people? Final Tribal Council, we will have a final three, minus 300. So that's the heavy favorite, or any other outcome plus 250. What do you think?
I think it's got to be three. Like, I think that the switch from 2 to 3 was important. So I would be shocked to see if they expand it more than that, because we've kind of seen, unless you're going to have a huge jury, you can't really expand it too much, because then it makes the merge earlier. Like, it swings everything then from a vote perspective, from like who's going to advance type of perspective. And I think that they do like the idea that once you get to final four, you can't really be voted out, because like you have the fire, you have that in theory, right? Like maybe that's not going to be here anymore. But I do think that final three kind of makes sense, at least from, especially here. Like, I don't think you're going to cut it down when you have so many like legends, or so to speak, of the game. You're not going to switch from 3 to 2 in this one of all seasons.
Yeah, so I think we did vote on, will there be fire making at Final Four, because that was, so one of the characters on this season, I don't believe either of you have seen, Chrissy, was season 35. That was the introduction of the surprise fire twist at Final Four, and she well, let's just say she wasn't a fan of the fire twist. So it could be that we get to Final Four, like, it feels like the fans would vote the fire out. That's what seems to be the prevailing opinion. So then if that's the case, would we just have a Final Four at the final tribal, and that would be a twist? Or would they maybe go back down to 2? 4 could make more sense just because we have so many people and so few days to vote people out. So I don't know. It was just kind of a weird lob off the top. Jim, you voted for the outcome here. Do you think if it's not 3, is it more or less than 3?
It's got to be 4. I agree with Joe. It definitely won't be 2. I do think 4 is feasible. I say give me the long shot. I filled this out early. You gave me so many chances at long shots. I don't need the long shot anymore. I'll take the minus 300. We got plenty of long shots.
All right, so the thing we love to hate, of course, on all the new era stuff is just advantages, idols everywhere. And you know, like we already know from the preview that there's going to be a lot of this stuff. So here's your first over under. Again, if you're betting, this is the number you just pick. Is it going to be higher or lower than this number? So over under 10.5 idols and advantages combined available this season. We're not going to count Shot in the Dark. That will be its own separate thing. Over or under 10.5 idols and advantages. Jim, what do you think?
Over. And I went way over. I feel like we're going to have so many goofy advantages. It's going to be like the Mr. Beast hidden, whatever. There's going to be all sorts of wonkiness. There's so many players. I could see like multiple merge. Like I could see all sorts of chaos. I think the more chaos, the more idols. I think your second question, I was interested. So you said 10.5 idols and advantages, but then you said 2.5 played successfully. So you think they're going to be just burning these, wasting these? I mean, I love that. That sounds like, people going home with idols in pockets. I always love that.
Funny.
That's just my sardonic view of the waste of time that all these idols and advantages are. Like, I feel like we spend half the episode hunting down everything and going on journeys, and then nothing ever comes of any of this crap. So that was kind of my tongue-in-cheek thing. Joe, over under 10.5 idols advantages, over under 2.5 that actually get played successfully.
I think I'm gonna go over it for both here, just because the more there are, it's correlated.
Sure.
That there are going to be more that are played successfully. But I also think that, it's a huge advertising opportunity. I was watching Beast Games. I don't know if you guys did or not, and I don't know if this isn't really a spoiler, but there's a literal crossover thing where they're on the Survivor Island for like one of the episodes. So there's 100% going to be something about that. We've seen it in the previews. I could see this season, like there's going to be an idol sponsored by like fucking Domino's, like at this rate, like that's where this is going. So it feels like a big advertising opportunity. I think that we definitely go over on this. And, some of the advantages too, they're not like ones that have to be played in the proper time frame. It's like you could play an advantage and just take something, and it's like, all right, well, like I don't even need to use it now. So I think that that's kind of one of the things there. And I think that there's also probably like a little bit of a loophole here because, like if you pulled the Rizzo from last season where you just keep saying, I got my idol, like I got it. Is that playing it successfully?
No, that's not cashing your played successfully bet. We got all the fine print down here. We're not counting that for anything.
By the way, because I'm psychotically competitive and love little games like this, Joe, I want you to put your answers in, and Brandon, I want you to even put your answers, even though you made the lines, and we should totally circle back and see at the end how all right.
Yeah, that's we're gonna have to like outsource some Cash That listener to grade our 50 bets times 3 people at the end of a Survivor season.
Well, I'll be the one. That's the kind of sick shit I love. Just put a movie on in the background and just grade away.
All right, next one. So we mentioned Mr. Beast already. We know that he's in here already because it was in the preview we saw at the end of last season. We also saw, I believe, quote, the Billie Eilish boomerang idol, if I remember right. And we saw something to do with Jimmy Fallon. I believe Christian said, my life is in Jimmy Fallon's hands right now. So we got 3 already. Over under 4.5 celebrity names used by production. So this is not a Taylor Swift shout out by Charlie. This is like and actually part of the Survivor game, celebrity names over under 4.5. Joe.
Over. I feel like I'm gonna pick over for literally every single thing.
I'm smashing the over as well.
Give me, I didn't put this on there. Give me your the longest shot name on the board. Like throw out a celebrity name we're going to just randomly hear on this season.
Can I answer your second question there, or are you going to go to that in a second?
I'll go to it still.
So the overall celebrity, it's got to be like, what about like Taylor Sheridan? Like someone in like the Paramount universe who they want to like promote a show coming up. So I'll say Taylor Sheridan.
Like something dumb. Yeah. Maybe.
Let's go to the next question. So what are the odds that some other Survivor legend appears live on the show? So not a flashback. I'm sure we're going to get some of that. But we've had before, like you win a reward and the reward is you're out on a boat and, oh, hey, there's a legend from an old season. You get like an hour of their time to give you some advice or something like that. So will there be a non-playing Survivor on the season plus 400? And if you want, I gave some options to call your shot. Jim, you wanted this question, so go for it.
Yeah, I said I'm smashing the over again. I'm saying a lot of things are happening. A lot of chaos is here. I said it should have been minus 400. So I'll definitely take that. The person I said, you listed a couple names. This one, you're going to have to fill me in if he's just not allowed near the show anymore. But Richard from season 1, Brandon, is there any chance they bring up the original OG or is he banned?
No. Richard is plus 1 million. They're like Richard has better odds of being put in jail live during a CBS broadcast this season.
What about the Sneaks and the Rats, the woman who gave that speech in season 1?
No, Richard and Sue are no. We've got Jenna from season 1. That's all they're doing with season 1. We get like Jervis or someone. We're not getting Richard or Sue.
Okay, fair enough. So I'll just take the over, and I don't have a good name, unfortunately, to pull.
Joe, anything to add?
Maybe like Kelly Wentworth, if we wanted to get like
okay, yeah.
I feel like she's like always on social media, like talking. She's in my TikTok algorithm, and she's always like breaking down stuff. I could maybe see her being in it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, I like that one. All right, a couple more of these, then we'll actually get into the meat of the tribe. So over under 1.5 castaways that leave the season on a non-vote. So a medevac, they quit, they get disqualified. I don't think we've even seen that. You guys are both in agreement on this one. Under? Joe, under?
Yeah, all under. I'm making my own line.
I loved it. I joined Joe on the all under. Give me the all under plus 380.
So yeah, no medevacs. We hope. I'm gonna say I'm on the over on this one. I'm gonna disagree here. Here's the reason. It's medevac for me, and this is an old season. This is the oldest season we've ever had on Survivor because we've got these people from so long ago, and we have these very physical challenged guys. And I think they brought them back, and we're going to get some of those more physical challenges. I don't want this to happen, obviously. I certainly don't want anyone to quit or get DQ'd, but maybe I set the line too high. I'll still go over, and maybe that's how we whittle down a few of the numbers along the way. All right. This was really the question I wanted out of this whole section here, and then we'll get to the tribes. Over under a half of a castaway to be allowed back in the game after being voted out. So what I mean by that is, will there be some version of Redemption Island? Once somebody tonight as you listen, they get voted out, are they gone forever? Or will there be some other landing spot and we spend like 10 minutes each episode with these people and they come back in the game? I'll lead here because I think this group of people, the Colbys and Jennas and Cerise, like, there's no way you're bringing those people back and saying, yeah, you might just be gone the first night. We'll never see you again. End of your Survivor experience. I think they're going to keep all these people around as long as they can hold our attention. I think we absolutely have something like this, but it's kind of weird to me that we haven't heard it in the media at all. Like, I don't think this would be a huge secret they'd hold back if it did exist. So I know you guys are opposite on this one. Joe, you think yes here, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like we've seen this in a lot of like these kind of reality competition shows where whoever's voted out first gets to come back in like a weird way. So it might not even be like The Circle did this where they come out back and they can be like a different persona. Here it's a little bit different, but it would be interesting to see like somebody gets voted out and they go like get put aside and then they get like put on a different tribe or something like that. Like I could see something funky kind of happening here where, it's just a little bit of an atypical situation right off the rip. So I think I agree with you. There's so many people that are coming here that I think people want to see that, I know Survivor, they say, oh, the game's like set before, like, all right, fucking Jeff. Like, I think if somebody that like you want on this show gets voted out first, you're going to pull some shenanigans and keep them on.
Jim, thoughts?
I was a big Grinch here and I said, that sounds dumb. And then I thought about it more and I was like, you know what? You're kind of right. Like, but here's how I think they might do it to keep people around. What if, you said the question earlier about the jury size. What if it's four people at final and all the other 20 are the entire jury and we don't have, you don't have to get to merge to be the jury. It's like, this is fully, everyone gets a vote in this final one. Maybe that's how they keep them around.
That'd be interesting as well. I like that idea. All right, before we get to the people that are on the season, you're one shot and then we're out on the rest of these names. Then there are only 24 names left. Here are your grievances. Who are you sad? Who are you mad to not see on season 50? Jim, you can go first.
So there's 4 people on my Rushmore. It's a very personal Rushmore because 3 are like the greatest players of all time. And 1 is I fell in love with this person watching the first season and she made me watch the rest of the seasons of Survivor. Yul, Tony, just like 2 of the GOATs, 2 of my favorite winners of all time. And then Shan from season 41, one of my favorite players of all time. Suri is the 4th who's on my Rushmore. So not seeing Tony or Yul is a bummer. Parvati obviously is like the big name who maybe would make sense to slot into that 4th spot for me, but Shan bumped her for me. And then kind of an under the radar favorite, since I listed a lot of big names there, Sierra was always one of my favorites. So she would have been another fun name. So those are some of the ones I'm bummed that they didn't get back. Shan, I really thought they would bring back.
There is, I think you have at least 1, possibly 2 more seasons of Sierra that you just haven't actually watched yet. So You're going to get your wish. You just haven't seen it yet.
Amazing.
Joe?
Yeah, I wanted to see Boston Rob because it's just always Boston Rob. But at the same time, I was a little surprised that we didn't get Jesse from season 43. I thought that he might be somebody that gets a chance here. He was so good. He should have won. Like, I'm still upset that he didn't win. Like, he absolutely should have won. And he just couldn't get there. Like, so that was brutal. I felt like he was somebody that I would have liked to see get another chance here. I thought he was just an incredible player. So I was disappointed about that.
Yeah, I think Jesse would be my new era pick that I was most disappointed to not get to see. And then the other one I want to shout is Omer. I got the Omer shirt on with the emu here. I thought he was a really fun player and really good strategist and social. Yeah, if we brought back so many new era people and it kind of felt like a weird mix. I will say this though, when they announced like 17 years ago, this cast, and I was like, okay, here's all the names. I hated it. I was in a bad mood for like a week. I was like, this is it. This is who you got. Now we're here, and I'm just like, okay, let's go. This is awesome. I love all these people. Let's play Survivor. So that's that. Okay, last one on this. Over under 6.5 castaways from this season that we will see play Survivor again on a future season. Joe, over or under?
I think it almost has to be over, just because like some of these guys are pretty young, and if you get to like 75, then like they'll probably be back, like one of those things.
So many seasons.
I think you have to go. I think you have to take the over here. I just don't see any way around it.
The funniest part is you could literally have Survivor 100, and that's only like 25 years from now. That's like, it's feasible to have someone there, right? That's from 1 to 50, someone is there. So the poor intern who has to be the cash that intern who's tracking this bet for the next 25 years, just every time a cast comes out marking.
We're gonna have to give these notes to Luca.
Yeah, exactly. This is your legacy, child.
That's all right. This is how my casino makes some money. I'm just going to hold your cash on this one for years to come before you find out.
I need to bet this on Kalshi so I can cash out at some point.
All right. Well, let's get to our tribes finally. We're off to a great start, guys. We're over 20 minutes in and haven't actually talked about the season.
And we've been trying to go quick. I can tell. It's just impossible.
I know. All right. So Joe's going to pull up a graphic here. I'm going to encourage you, if you're listening or watching, you can pretty easily do like a Google search of season 50 cast photos, season 50 tribes. You're not going to get a spoiler that way. This is how I found the picture that you're seeing on your screen on YouTube. I would encourage you to pull up a shot like that because there are 24 names. There's a lot of names. We're going to list them out here, but it's going to be tough to follow other than just being able to see a graphic. So we're going to go through one tribe at a time. We'll ask kind of the same questions about each tribe. So we'll start with the one you are seeing at the top there, the Sela tribe. I'm just going to give you like the simplest bio of each of these people. So women first, Cirie the GOAT. You heard about her from Jim already. This is her 5th U.S. season. We love Cirie, one of the greatest players to never win the game. Emily Flippin, financial advisor. We saw her kind of crazy arc in recent years, go from just being totally out socially to kind of figuring things out later. Jenna, she's from season 1. She is the OG of OGs on this season. And then the opposite, Savannah, just from last season, our winner that just finished, I think like 10 days before this started. That's the women on this tribe. And then the men, Christian Hubicki, everyone's favorite nerd, robotic scientist. We love Christian from David versus Goliath. Joe Hunter, we just saw him 2 seasons ago on 48. We saw, obviously, among other things, the very moving scene with him and Eva kind of being her protector on that season. Ozzy, long time, half man, half fish, half monkey, like just incredible. Like the guy was made to survive on Survivor Islands. I don't know if he was made to play Survivor. We'll talk about that. And then Rick Devens is the last one, season 38. I don't think either of you guys have seen. Kind of one of the lesser known people, I think, on this season. But usually people refer to him as Devens, not as Rick. So you probably hear that a lot. So that's the 8. Cirie, Emily, Jenna, Savannah, Christian, Joe, Ozzy, and Devens. So from that list, who are you most excited to see again on this tribe? And just kind of like early thoughts on the tribe. Who do you see working together? That sort of thing.
Actually pretty interested to see Joe play again, because I do think that Joe was held back a little bit in terms of the way that he played, because he was trying to like help out so much, I feel like, in the season that he was on. And I understood obviously the relationship that he was able to build, but I do think that, given a kind of a fresh opportunity, we might see a little bit more of like a cutthroat type of persona here, a little bit more aggressive gameplay, and maybe he won't kind of default into like the dad-ish mode, and try to do something a little bit different. So I think that there's definitely something there. And then I think Emily is interesting because she did have that like crazy arc. I don't know like what we're going to see, and I really don't know what other people are going to think of her either. So it's going to be interesting because it's like we watched it, and we saw it, but you wonder what some of these other players are going to think of that.
Yeah, I was not excited to see Joe cast when it initially came out. I'm a little more intrigued now for some of the reasons you said. Like I think that him in a different setting, in a different group of people, we could see a different version of Joe. It still wouldn't have been my first pick, but I at least can like talk myself into it from what seemed like a kind of flat character. To me, I'm picking Cirie first on every Survivor season. Like if we're going to Survivor 100, put Cirie on the next 50. I'll watch her on every single season. I'm not even joking. And also, if you're doing any sort of returning season, Christian was the number 1 pick always. Like Christian's always going to be on the season and an absolute fan favorite. So to me, those two, I'm excited. I'm always afraid to see people like that play because they're so beloved and you're afraid they're going to go in like the second episode or something. But to me, those names stand out. Jim, I know you said Suri as well. Who else comes to mind?
Yeah, Suri easy first, Ozzy easy last. We've seen him so many times, and maybe we'll talk about, but he just doesn't. He never changes his game. Yeah, he's fun to watch in the challenges, but the rest of it is Emily and Joe are the other two names that I'm pretty interested in. Christian as well. That's probably underselling Christian a little bit, but I'm really curious with Emily because I loved her arc so much. And then I have not, like I said, I've not seen much social for this season, but I did see a little clip of her. It seemed like she was leaning into like the villain bit a little too much. I feel like part of what made her so endearing is that she wasn't like easy to pin down. She wasn't like a caricature either way. So hopefully she kind of, does that arc again, and it's not just like a caricature of something.
The Savannah.
Yeah, I'm interested that you both said Emily. To me, Emily is kind of low on my list. Like, I like Emily. I'm happy to see her again as a person. I sort of fear like we got the whole Emily story already. Like, I kind of think we got the arc, and I don't know what other arc there is to come. But maybe she'll surprise still.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see Savannah again because she won, and I'm wondering if she does something different this time, because it's like you won, you normally would think that you're gonna, number one, try to do the same thing because nobody else saw what she did. Like, she could in theory just do it exactly the same way. Doesn't have Rizzo though, so kind of gets a reset type of situation, and I don't think they're gonna know, nobody's gonna know who she is. So it's going to be really weird, I think, because everyone's going to know she's on the newest season. They're going to know she's maybe tired, and they have no idea if she won or not. But they're going to know that she probably got kind of far, obviously, because everybody gets far here. And I think they're going to be a little wary of her and Rizzo because they're going to say, well, you had to get far in order to be here today, and we know nothing about you.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how she plays it. Not really excited to see her like we just saw her, but I'm curious to see how she plays it because of that one element where just nobody knows who she is.
So I'm going to call this not a spoiler. From the preseason interviews, every person who's not season 49, they ask them like, what do you think about this person, that person? Whenever they ask about season 49, they say, well, the one thing I think is there's got to be, one of them is the winner. They have to have a winner because we have 2 winners. There's 3 tribes. There's got to be a third winner. Like the jig is up. They all know one of them is the winner. And I believe we've heard that Savannah's just telling them right away. So like, I think that's going to be out there. So I'm curious, like, if that's all you know now, Savannah and Rizzo are here, and all you know, like, here, literally, there's 2 things they're going to know. I think they're going to know that Savannah won. And then the only thing they've seen of season 49 was the preview at the end of season 48, which I don't recall if it had Savannah at all, but it did have a certain young whippersnapper calling himself RZGOD Riz God Baby. The thing that he hid from everyone on season 49, they saw, and it's the only thing they saw of him. So kind of side note here, Rizzo we'll get to on a future tribe. Which person do you think, like, who do you like better between Rizzo or Savannah for their chances on this season, given how little anyone knows of either one, Jim?
It's a great question. I think Rizzo, I did not think Savannah started the season well. And I don't think we talked about in our group chat how she seems like there might be something there that's like maybe a tiny bit, it's like, I don't think she's going to click well. And I think in a game of like bad players, you can survive a little bit on that and then like let your skills take over. In a season this deep, I think she could be one of the very first off.
Yeah, I feel like she pulled off a lot of moves in the last season that you wouldn't have been able to pull off normally. Like her and Rizzo just like strung everybody along for like 7 episodes.
Yeah.
With like half an idol, and I don't know if you can do that again. So that's gonna be tough.
All right, next question for the Sela tribe. This is the orange tribe. We're gonna short someone. You can short any one of these 8 people. This is more of like a stock and trading term. Who are you most certain has absolutely 0 shot to actually win season 50? And they could finish second or third. They could go all the way to the end, but they are not going to win. Jim, who's your pick?
I found all of these really scary because every single one I was like, well, maybe they could. Because like my pick is Ozzy because he never adjusts his gameplay. But I have this answer a couple times where it's like someone, not to spoil it, but for Vatu, I had Colby where it's like, I don't see them win, but I'm like, oh, if Ozzy or Colby got to the end, the like kind of sympathy vote that I would hate so much of like, oh, the Survivor legend, like let's get them a ring, get Chris Paul a ring. Like I would hate it, but I could kind of vaguely see it. But we've just seen so much Ozzy that he just does not adjust his game. So I'll even though he's a big name, I'll take Ozzy not to win.
Ozzy would be my pick as well. Joe, do you have a pick?
I just don't see any scenario where Savannah gets out of the like knockout round, to be honest. Like, I just think that they're going to be like, no, we're getting her out. Like, we don't care. We can dogpile on her. We know she's the winner. Like, she doesn't need to be here.
Yeah. It's true. It's hard to imagine her, even if she gets close to the end, it's hard to imagine them even letting her get to a final tribal where they're like, yeah, we're going to let you go back-to-back seasons and crown, like, you become the queen of Survivor if we allow you to go back-to-back and beat all the legends here. So I think that makes a lot of sense too. All right. Most likely to be the first one out from this tribe. So not necessarily first in the game. We'll get to that later. First from this tribe. I put odds on this. So based on what Joe just said, Savannah 4-1 is our leader. Christian 5-1. Cerise 6-1. And any other name is 9-1 for each name. Joe, you're going with Savannah first one out, 4-1.
Yeah, I'm going to take her at 4-1. I just think that it's an easy vote, especially if she's going to come out and say like, I won. I just think it's super easy for everybody to kind of just say like, look, we don't know anything about her. We know she won. We know she's likable, like in one way, shape, or form. But I also I agree with what Jim was kind of mentioning before. I think she's like a little abrasive. Like, I didn't really like her, like watching the show, and like maybe it was the edit or whatever, but like I didn't totally like her. And then also, like, it was brought up in Final Tribal where it was like she couldn't tell you anything about anybody that was not in like her group of people.
Forgot about that.
And like that's wild for so many reasons. Like, I kind of get it, but at the same time, like, I don't think that's going to play here. Like, you should know. It's weird too, because you're going to come in and kind of know a lot about all of these people as a fan. So I think she might like kind of skate by that way, but I just feel like the reporterish part of it is going to come out and people are going to be like, I don't like this. Like, I'm out.
All right, Jim, what do you got?
I said Jenna just for the plus 900, and like it sometimes is like kind of the weakest athlete. So maybe that would be Emily or Jenna even. But I went with, just because of the super long odds on that one, Jenna plus 900. But I think Savannah plus 400 is a pretty solid pick.
I'll go Devins 9-1 on this one. Mm-hmm. I just feel like he's one of, I believe, 4 people that come from, like, they've never played with anyone else on the season. And this is a little bit inside baseball in this one. From the interviews before the season, there's a lot of talk about that guy Devins is trying too hard. He's smiling at everyone too much. He's trying to get in with me. And I don't think he has a lot of connections. I could just see him being the first one out. I have Jenna thoughts, but we'll get to them in a second, because here's your pick for a sleeper run on this tribe. We just talked about all 3 of them. Devins, Jenna, or Emily. Which one of those 3 is the last one standing? They're each at plus 200. My pick is Jenna. I actually really am intrigued by Jenna on this tribe. I'll say that, and I'm going to have more Jenna later in the podcast. There's the teaser for that. Jim, who do you think?
I went Emily. I don't know much about Devins, and Jenna I just had as like a potential first out. So it kind of makes sense. But Emily's high risk, high reward too, because we talk about Savannah kind of personality wise. Emily definitely can be very blunt, and if she's leaning into like a villain mode, then maybe that means an early exit from her.
Yeah, I'm with Jim here on Emily. I think that I just don't know if anybody's going to totally perceive her as like a major threat here. When you look at kind of the other things, like you're going to have Savannah's a winner. Rhea is somebody that everybody's like, oh, she's got to win. Like, she's going to be so good, blah, blah. Joe, I think it's one way or the other. Like, he's either going to get really far or he's going to be voted out immediately, because everybody's going to be like, everybody loves him. We got to get it. He's got to go. He's got to get out of here. So I think it could go one way or the other.
All right. Last question for Tribe Sela. Who is the last one standing from this tribe? They could be the winner, or they could just be the last orange left. Here are your odds. Three, our betting favorite at 5-1. Christian plus 650, Ozzy plus 750, Savannah plus 750. Anyone else is plus 900 each. Joe, who's your pick?
I'm going to go with Ozzy. I think that he is somebody that people I think people like him. So I think it's going to be one of those where he sticks around long enough. And I think that people might just say, well, like, he's not going to win. Like, we may as well keep him here. Like, let him go fishing, like, do whatever the fuck he wants to do. I could totally see that kind of being the situation for him.
Yeah, I kind of like that logic, actually, of like just keeping him around because he does provide so much. So he's like that's a very high floor pick. I'm going a little longer shot. I'm going Joe at plus 900. I actually think he's really good at connecting with everybody, being loyal, and also kind of flying under the radar while doing those 2 things that are like super essential to Survivor. I I think he could make a run. He's my favorite from this tribe in general, and then the plus 900 odds got to grab the long shot.
Yeah, I basically agree with you guys on both Joe and Ozzy. Like, there are a bunch of people like that on this season that I wish there weren't so many of. I fear we could get a lot of these like physical threats that don't actually play the game but are kind of not threatening because of that, and suddenly they're just all around at the end. And do they become threatening if that happens? Because now they're all in the jury, and might they all just vote for one of their own after that? Please God, let that not be what the season is. Your picks work only if the winner doesn't come from this tribe. I think the winner could come from this tribe. I'm taking Jenna 9-1, and I think Jenna has a real shot to win the game of Survivor. We talked about, you guys said like the pity vote, Jim, of Colby or Ozzy, somebody would get to the end. I think Jenna, to be the season 1 to season 50, like the obvious narrative, if you get that story to tell. But I think she's a player. Like, she's cutthroat. She's going to make moves in this game. I really was not at all into her when the tribes all came out, or when the casting came out. I loved her interviews. Like, she's really interesting of how she's thinking about the different players. She's connected, I think, with different ages of people. She's a mom now, kind of a different phase of life. There's a lot of moms on this season because it's this older season now compared to a typical Survivor. I might be way off. It's kind of just a long shot to me. But at least from this tribe, I could see Jenna going far and losing anyway, and then I cash, or maybe still contending down to the end. So Jenna is my pick, at least from the Sela tribe. Anything else before we go to the next tribe?
No, I think fire away.
Yeah.
All right, Kalo tribe. This is the teal tribe. Again, 8 people here. I'll start with the men this time. Charlie Davies from season 46, the Harvard grad, not a law student anymore. He is a lawyer now, and we all know at this time. So that's Charlie. Benjamin Wade, aka Coach, still Coach all these years later, still the Dragon Slayer. We'll see. Definitely a character. Jonathan is from he's our first new era guy. He literally holds a Guinness World Record for most pull-ups with 100 pounds on his back. He is like, among all the physical threats, I think Jonathan still is going to stand out from everyone, which says something. And then Mike White, the big celebrity on the season, of course, the White Lotus director, among other things. So that is the men. Some of the more under the radar women, I think, on this tribe. Not D. D is season 45 winner, one of our 2 new era winners. But the other 3 women, I think, are a bit more under the radar. Killa Camilla, Jim's going to have a lot to say about her. She is one of 3 people from season 48. Tiffany, one of 3 people from season 46. I think probably the most surprising inclusion in this entire cast, just because I think she finished 8th, which is the lowest finish of anyone on the cast as well. And then Chrissy, somebody that probably would have played by now, but we haven't had a returning season in a while. She's from season 35, and she's kind of a fan favorite. Not a really Brandon favorite, if I'm being honest, but she's someone that is back on this tribe as well. So that is our tribe. That is the teal tribe Kalo. Chrissy, D, Camilla, Tiffany, Charlie, Coach, Jonathan, and Mike White. Jim, give us the early thoughts. Who are you excited to see play again? Who do you see working together on this tribe?
Killa Camilla. I think this is her season. I am all aboard the Killa Camilla train. I loved her in her season. I think she could make a run here. I think you've got the question here about who's going to vibe and work well together. Camilla and Mike White scream combination to me. They're very similar game plays. I think they'll recognize each other. D is great, but I don't think she kind of fits in with that like combo there. Coach is going to be off on his own world. Charlie, I've got a hot take at the end of, I don't know if we'll get to those, so maybe I'll soft launch it now, that I think he might break bad. He might be a villain of this season. Jonathan, I think, is trash. I think this is Mike White, Killa Camilla. Tiffany, I think could make a run and kind of be their third on Kalo, and then like she drops off eventually, either tries to make a move or like they realize maybe she's not the strongest player and she kind of falls by. But I am really interested in this tribe because Camilla is definitely my favorite player in this Survivor 50.
Okay. Joe, thoughts on Kalo?
So I am kind of interested to see like some of the dynamics here, because I don't totally feel like any of them mesh great. So I'm interested to see I'm very interested to see what the dynamics are here, because I don't see, I'm like trying to parse through who's going to work together. I'm like, I don't know. Like nothing stands out to me off the rip.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, so D is the winner on this tribe, and I feel like D's going to play a front runner. Like that's who she wants to be. She's going to not lay back. She's going to come out and play the game. I think Charlie's going to want to do that, and I could see those two both working together. They were both co-hosts on the On Fire podcast with Jeff Probst, so I think they're probably already kind of connected through that anyway. And if you look at this group of people, like Camilla's going to be real happy to just be under the radar. Mike's just going to be in the background. Like Jonathan, he's going to go along with whatever. Coach will think he's in charge, but never actually is. Like it seems like Dee and Charlie, this tribe is going to set up to me to have them sort of run the show a little bit. I don't know if that's good. Like I think that could put a big target on them, but there's already a big target on Dee and Charlie also. So I'm excited to see Tiffany the most, I think, of this group. She was either my winner pick or like top 3 on her season. And I felt like just kind of ended up not in a great spot for her. Too much Q, too much Banu early on in the Tiffany era. So I'm excited to see her get a new look. And it is kind of the meta on these returning seasons that the overlooked person, when you're like, what? Why this person? Yeah. Like we saw Boston Rob kind of in that spot second time around. We saw Parvati second time around. Turns out casting knows what they're doing usually. So if you bring somebody back, there's probably a reason. All right, so before we get to the usual questions, over under 1/2 season 50 Castaways to appear on a future season of The White Lotus. It's the Mike White question. Jim, who's your pick? Shocker.
If they're pairing up in my brain already, it's got to be Camilla. Yeah, I think she'd be perfect on a future White Lotus season, but definitely an over on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about like everyone's just going to try to suck up to Mike White, and so he's going to stick around a long time because everyone's just like trying to get the spot on the White Lotus. Yep. And I have to believe there's going to be some like crossover White Lotus something or other sometime this season. I'm already annoyed by it, but we're going to get all the celebrity stuff. All right, let's do our shorts here. Who are you shorting that has no shot to win season 50? Joe, I'm going to you first because you're picking the person I just said it was a fun sleeper.
I think Tiffany. I think it matters that she didn't make it far before. I think that you need to try. I think you need to have like some sort of winner equity, and you need to be able to get closer to the end. I think that there's something to be said about like being eliminated early. Granted, like other people, obviously most people win. They've never won before, but neither has anybody else. Like here, I think you're playing against people who have either won or made it further basically than you in every situation. I think it changes the dynamics. It changes the way that you vote. It changes the way that you kind of have to navigate the game. And having not done that before, I think it makes it much more difficult for her to advance in that way against everybody else that realistically has. So I said Tiffany.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'm going to be with Jim on his pick. So Jim, who's yours?
Sorry, I was scrolling ahead. Jonathan. Yeah, this is my easiest of the entire game. But if you could give me Jonathan, if I was going on Kalshi, Jonathan, no. I would be taking that at 99 cents. I don't care. There's just no way this dude, he's a dinosaur. He's not winning this.
What do you mean by dinosaur?
He's like kind of like a vaguely problematic like dude who I just don't think is going to fit with the rest of this cast.
Okay, fair enough.
And I don't
we'll leave it there.
A good pitch on Final Tribal if he somehow got that.
Yeah, that's the thing to me is like, again, he's in that group of guys that I could see, and it is guys that I could see like lasting a long ways because I don't find them threatening at all. But then all of a sudden, one of them, like if you gave me a group of like Colby, Coach, Jonathan, and then maybe like Ozzy or one other name, like one of those dudes is getting no votes at the Final Tribal. Like somebody's sitting there because if I'm playing on this season, I'm dying to take any of those bros with me to the end. Like they're the huge meat shield. They can win the immunity and keep my alliance safe. And they ain't doing crap in front of a jury at the end of that. And Jonathan, to me, fits right into that mix. So that makes sense to me. He's your pick at plus 900 to be the first one out from the tribe. Here are the odds. D, 3-1. She's my shortest of any of the tribes for first one out. Charlie 5-1. Killa Camilla plus 750. Jim's not going to like that. Everyone else plus 900. Jim, you got Jonathan at 9-1. Joe, who's your pick?
I've got D. I'm just going to go with no. I'm going to bet every single tribe the previous winner, first person out. Like
not a bad idea.
I think that's the way you do it.
I'm going to pick Chrissy 9-1 here. I'm just not sure she really meshes with anyone on this tribe. And if it is more of like a D Charlie tribe and everyone else supposed to fall in, she's pretty headstrong and I don't see her really falling in line. And maybe she's just she's won only from her season as well. I don't know if she's going to have a connection here. I did put Camilla shorter odds. Here's my fear with Camilla, Jim. I love her too. I want her to go far. I want to see her play. There's 3 people from season 48, Camilla and Kyle, who I don't know if you know this, you guys, but they had a secret alliance the entire game. And Kyle is a winner and a big target. And this tribe can't vote out Kyle, but they can vote out Camilla and kind of wound Kyle. And that's what my fear is. Like, and Joe is the third one. So do they say, okay, let's cut down this trio that we fear working together later and cut Camilla out now, even though she's not as threatening as the other two? That's kind of where I think on those three. So
that's depressingly super fair.
Well, we'll go with that into our sleeper pick. So Camilla, Tiffany, Chrissy, those three women plus 200. Who's the last one standing? Jim, who are you picking?
I'll give you three guesses of those three. Camilla, I do think Tiffany is a good number as well. And I don't know Chrissy, so I guess that's unfair to write her out. But I think I skew slightly closer to you than Joe on the Tiffany of it all, and thinking that she might be able to stick around for a while, if only because she gets overlooked, and that can be a good thing in Survivor sometimes.
Okay, I'm going to keep us moving. Joe said Camilla. I'll go Tiffany. We've talked about them a lot. Last one standing on this tribe. Here are your odds. D, 5-1, even though she's also favored to be first one out. Charlie, 6-1. Mike, plus 750. Tiffany, plus 750. Everyone else, 9-1 each. Jim, one more time. Camilla?
Next. Not plus 900. Next.
Joe, who you got?
I went with Mike. I'm curious to see how it goes, and maybe the White Lotus of it all keeps him in.
Do you think that Mike can win, or is he another one of your, like, he gets to the end so someone else can win picks?
I think I think that's possible. I think like towards the end, like we might see that. I do think we're gonna have like probably some sort of alliance that like from one of these tribes, maybe like early, that kind of sticks around or something like that. But I do think that Mike could kind of just be like brought along the way here.
Okay. I'll take Tiffany here. I probably robbed myself of some equity. I probably should have just let Tiffany be at 9-1, but I'll take her at plus 750. I think Tiffany can win the game. I think Tiffany like has a legitimate chance to win Survivor. I don't know who needs to vote Tiffany off. There is that she's one of three from her tribe, but that group, or not tribe, but her season, it's not really as close of a group as the Joe, Camilla, Kyle trio was on their season. So I'm not sure that will be the case. I just feel like we're going to be at 8, and there's Tiffany, because I don't know who needed to get rid of Tiffany. She's easy to talk to and fun to have around, and I think she could do some stuff later on. So I think she's in the mix there. Let's go to Vatu. Anything else on Tribe Kalo before we keep moving? All right, Vatu Tribe, our purple tribe. Pink, purple, I don't know. Whatever color it is. We voted for it. It's great. All right, Angelina, she wants your jacket. She is from the David versus Goliath season, one of 3 from that season. Aubrey, one of my favorites, had a really fun arc early in her season, and just kind of seems to really build social bonds and stick around. Very nerdy. Genevieve, someone we saw more recently on season 47, only one from that season. She's Canadian, one of 2 on this season, and she had a really strong finish on that one. Part of the, I forget the name of the big Italy blindside twist late in the game, whatever it was.
Operation
and then
Italy?
Stephanie, what was it?
Operation Italy?
Yeah, something.
Like
yeah. Stephanie, our last woman on the tribe. Stephanie is one of our earliest players here, originally season 10, and then a couple times after that. And she was one of the big women's physical threats early in the game. So that's those 4. Colby Donaldson, the legend, back from season 2, Australia, like legitimately one of the all-time like well-known celebrities as a Survivor player. Like the number of people that watched Survivor 25 years ago when television was still like monolithic is unbelievable. Colby's like the American hero. Kyle Frazier is our most recent winner until Savannah, I guess. So second most, won season 48. He's one of those 3 from that tribe we just talked about. Quintavious Burdett is back. Our group chat, our 3 of us, is named after Q and Venus on that season. Q is going to cancel Christmas. Q is going to have all sorts of catchphrases. I watched the hide and seek episode today in preparation for this. It's going to be good stuff from Q. And then last but not least, hopefully for his sake, is Rizzo. I think he's the baby of this season at age 25. Rizzo is just on season 49. Again, somebody that no one knows anything about, except that he calls himself RIZGOD, Rizgod baby. And I guess we're going to have to live with that as they find out who he is. Looks like we lost Jim, but I'm sure he'll be back here shortly.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. So Joe, give us some thoughts, or early thoughts on who are you excited to watch on this purple tribe? Pink, whatever color fuchsia that they are, and what are you looking at early on?
I was definitely excited to see Q. I was stoked when they saw that he was in the casting here. And I think that the dynamic between Q and Rizzo could actually be fucking hilarious. Like, just the two of them might just be ridiculous. So I don't know if they're gonna work well together, but I think they might be hilarious together. So definitely kind of interested in seeing that dynamic. And I think from like a working together vibes perspective, I could kind of see like Rizzo worked well with Savannah. I think Genevieve is like a better Savannah, even though she didn't win. So I could kind of see them maybe gravitating towards each other in that way. Could also maybe see Genevieve and like Kyle maybe. So I think that there's a couple different avenues there. And I do wonder if, like Colby and Stephanie, if they decide to work together, because they're like the older groups like here. So I do wonder if like when you've been playing Survivor matters to a degree, and it's like, do those players gravitate towards each other and try to form an alliance like in that way? So those are a couple of things that I was looking at and trying to see if they would maybe work well together.
Yeah, I think Colby and Steph likely go together. I think this is a weird mix of tribe for me. I'll give thoughts on that for a second. Jim, what do you think of this tribe, the purple tribe, pink, whatever they are? Who are you excited to see here?
Yeah, I put in my notes that I think this is like sneaky, maybe the strongest tribe. I think especially like strategy wise, they don't have an Ozzy, they don't have a Jonathan. So maybe that's the thought here is this is, it's not Brains versus Beauty versus Braun or whatever. But to me, this strikes me as like one of the most strategic groups, especially I'm not to give away where I'm leaning with this group, but I think Genevieve is really, really strong. I think Rizzo is strong. I think Aubrey and Angelina, I just think there's not really a bad player here. Maybe Colby, you say, but I think Colby and Stephanie are going to be, like you said, like kind of a very strong early duo, which maybe means they just get flushed away.
Yeah.
Hugh's going to bring chaos. I don't know. There's something about this tribe that I'm just kind of interested by. I think Rizzo and Genevieve, I'm with Joe on that. I think that's an interesting one. I also think Genevieve and Aubrey. I think Genevieve works with a lot of the people in this tribe. I could see her doing very, very well. Not to give away necessarily where I'm looking here.
Yeah, this is a tribe I have the hardest time getting the hold of. I really like Genevieve, but I'm not sure she's gonna like vibe a lot with these other people. I don't know how Rizzo's gonna come in when people don't know who he is, and like Q and some others are gonna maybe call him out on that. I wasn't super excited to see Angelina back. I know others are like her, but I don't know what she was a no vote finalist. Like I don't know what we need to see more of from her. Aubrey's kind of had weird preseason vibes. Like I don't know if she wants to be there. Stephanie has been on other reality TV recently. I loved her like a decade ago, but I feel like we've kind of seen her and she hasn't really changed. I don't know. I have weird thoughts about this tribe. To me, we'll probably skip this question later. This to me is the disaster tribe. Like I just don't know how this tribe goes well. I think it's a weird mix. There's really not like physically, there's not a great physical threat here compared to other tribes. Like Colby's supposed to be it, but dude's old. Like Q is like a varsity athlete, but sucked in all the challenges his season. Kyle, I think, is fine, but like not going to really carry them. Not like Joe and Ozzy and Jonathan, some of the other guys. So I don't know if we'll really get a disaster tribe this season because everyone's a disaster. We got to vote someone out like every day to get to 26 days and get down to one. So maybe that won't be a thing, but this is the tribe I have the hardest time getting a hold of. I think too, lower ceiling, higher floor. Like the players are closer together. I'm less certain of who I love and who I don't like here. So to that end, who would you short? Who's the person in this tribe that you are absolutely certain will not win season 50, Jim?
This was the one I referenced earlier where I think I wrote Colby and then I was like, if he gets the end, that could be a really good pity vote. So I guess see, Kyle's so likable. I agree that Joe's like no winners thing is like pretty smart. He's so likable and a winner that I really struggle to, but like then he could get that far and he is so likable and it might be like, wow, like hat tip. So I'll stick with Colby as my choice.
Joe?
Yeah, I think Kyle, I like in terms of the no winners thing here, but I will say I do think there's something maybe the opposite end of this where somebody else like wants to play with a winner and take a winner far, like go far with the winner because they're going to be good. They know they're good. They know that the social game's good and they're naturally going to be a shield because if you get late and they like if I think that's kind of why I think that none of these guys that were winners can win again is because if you get late in the game, I think that at that point, any type of relationship is just going to disintegrate. And you're going to say, like, the other people that are kind of working together are going to be like, let's get the winner out. Like, they need to go. Like, they need to go home. Or you could even take them to final tribal, and it's like, nobody's going to want to give it again to another winner. Like, I think it's harder. I mean, we've seen it before. Obviously, we've seen multi-time winners, but it feels a lot harder to do in one of these.
Yeah, for some reason, Kyle is the one of the three winners that I feel best about actually sticking around and having a shot to make some waves. And I think his whole thing in his season was that he's the most average guy, which I think is not true. It's like he's more like the most 75th percentile guy that but still it's like he's not stand out anything. Then again, he's the guy that everyone in this season just saw win. Like, they didn't see season 49. They just saw Kyle win and then went out to the island and did the thing. So I weirdly have some hope for Kyle for whatever reason, but that could go very sideways because he's clearly the leader of it, the only 3-person alliance on the island, and he just won, and he should be like the most obvious target. So first one out on this tribe, Rizzo 3-1, Genevieve or Q or Aubrey 5-1, everyone else 10-1. Joe, no winners. Kyle, we know your logic there. Jim, who are you picking for first one out?
I went Q here. I'm saying he overplays his hand and goes home first. I think we saw in the trailer maybe Q looking like crazy Q, which maybe means like he gets more than an episode to, maybe that if we're seeing clips of him, it means it's more than one episode, but I could see Q combusting. So getting him, I think, what did you have him? You had him plus 500. So there's probably some other ones there like Colby or Stephanie if they kind of combo up. So Stephanie at plus 1,000 is intriguing as well, but she's such a good like provider and an athlete that maybe I'll stick with going Q here.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Joe, you talked about Colby and Steph working together. I think that's true, but I think then they're like the pair and everyone else is not the pair of them. So that's a bit my fear for them. It's funny that Q and Aubrey are on the season together. If you guys remember, on Q's season, he specifically targeted a different character in his season because they reminded him of Aubrey, which made them sneaky and a threat. So it's hilarious that they put Aubrey on Q's tribe now. I don't know what Aubrey is going to be this season. I have compared Aubrey to New Era Siri, which is among the highest praise I can give someone, as like Aubrey, I think, is set up so well to, like, if you ran the season 100 times, Aubrey gets far in the game and toward the end, like the most of any of the people, which is kind of how I try to judge Survivor players. But that wasn't necessarily the case in all of her seasons of Survivor, and she hasn't played a long time. There's kind of this weird Aubrey vibe. So she's someone I haven't made my mind up yet. Like, I think she's maybe my Camilla a little bit, Jim, where I could see this go poorly, and she could even be the first one out. Maybe Q just wants to get her out, and that's that. If she kind of just sticks around for a little bit, there's people like Camilla, I think even Suri to an extent. If you can duck for like a week and just build a few connections and get anybody else out, now it's trouble. And I think you're going deep that way. So to me, that's Aubrey. So sleeper run from this tribe, Angelina, Genevieve, or Q, plus 200 each. You guys are on the same person. Who wants it?
Go ahead, Jim.
Genevieve. I think we each kind of laid out what we like about Genevieve here, and not to spoil what I guess I can maybe just lead us into the next one. Last one standing from the whole tribe. You put Genevieve at plus 900. I'm grabbing that. I think Genevieve could win the whole thing. I think we have seen this is you have the question at the end about male or female winner. We've seen a lot of women win in the modern era. I think it would be a fitting cap to this kind of is kind of a cap to the modern era. Half these people here are modern era. I think she would be a really fitting winner to kind of cap that as like kind of like she fits the type of these like successful, just good all around players at Survivor that do great on this. I think she'd be a very good winner of season 50.
Yeah, I'd love to see a deep run from Genevieve. So last one standing from this tribe, you took Genevieve 9-1. We got Kyle 3-1, Aubrey plus 450, Colby plus 750, Rizzo 750, everyone else 9-1. Jim took Genevieve at 9-1. Joe, who's your pick?
I'm going with Rizzo. I think that he plays very aggressively and in a different way than I think a lot of people will have even considered that you would play. So I think it's kind of high risk, high reward. I think he could easily just blow up in his face, or he plays in such a way like kind of he did last time, where people are just like, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, I don't know what to do with him. and it just happens to stay. So I could see that too.
I have no idea what my pick is from here. If I had to pick somebody from this tribe, I probably would have picked Kyle or Aubrey, which is why I made them the two betting favorites, but that probably is not the right odds for this group. So now I can't bet them because I made them the favorites. So Jim, I'll just join you on Genevieve Island and wish with my heart on this one. All right. So that's our three tribes. We've got about 50 minutes left. So I'm going to zoom through some of these other questions. We talked a little about the disaster tribe, First Tribe to Tribal Council, Winter Tribe. We're going to skip some of those ones. Premiere night. 3-hour premiere. Supposedly it's 2 episodes, 2 90-minute episodes. So over under 2.5 Castaways out on premiere night. You guys both said under. I think it's over, man. We got to get people out of here. Like, there's so many people and only like 13 episodes. So we'll see. Under as well, you guys picked under 3.5 idols and advantages found on premiere night. We got 3 hours. We got to have something for them to do. They're going to send them on a journey. They're going to be digging up idols all over the place. Like,
there's
I don't know.
So much banter. It's going to be like a Traders opening night where it's just like banter galore and like everyone feeling each other out.
It could be a lot of nothing. Like, it's
a
lot of like,
that could be too.
Because I think that you also don't want to eliminate too many people early. And then people are like, damn, like my favorite person's not here. I could see it even going to 1.
Yeah, that's true.
There's just 1 tribal, and it's just like, holy shit. Like, it's
mega tribal.
Like everybody's here.
All right, will a shot in the dark be used on premiere night? We don't even know if they'll have it. I assume it'll still be there. Plus 300 for one to be used. Will it be used and revealed safe opening night? Here's your escalator bet, 24-1. Jim says no. Joe, can I talk you into a bet here?
I don't know. I think no. I just think that I hate the shot in the dark. I don't think it's happening.
I'm going to take the yes. I'll take the 3-1 for it to be played. This is like your last shot for most of these people. They have to assume. So if you're going to go down swinging, and if you just think you're the one on the odds out, you may as well take a shot at it. So I'll say yes for shot in the dark, 3-1. Give me the long shot. First boot of the season. Here are the odds I came up with. D, Rizzo and Savannah at 8-1 are my favorites, or D favorites. I don't know what that is. Christian, Charlie, Genevieve, Q, and Aubrey at 12-1. 3 and Killa Camilla 15-1, or Field. That just means everybody else is 3-1. Jim, who's your pick here?
I went Q. We skipped this question. I'm glad we did because I changed my answer, honestly. I do think Vatu probably loses the first challenge. They don't have Ozzy. They don't have Jonathan. Maybe it's like the surprise is Jonathan doesn't lead them, but I think probably the smart money is going from Vatu. So I'll go with Q because he was my pick to be first on the Vatu tribe to be voted off. So I'll get him. My backup plan was Chrissy. So if it's Kalo, I think that's potentially where I'd be leaning.
I'm going to take Field just because I get like half of the people and God knows what's going to happen in the first episode. So that's the only logic there. Joe, who's your pick?
I'm going to take D. I just think that the way she won was so like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like people are gonna be like, no, we don't want you here. Like, you manipulated the hell out of people. Like, we do not want to deal with you.
She's only really played as a front runner, and I'm really curious when you get a player like that, what's it look like when you don't have all the power? Except, again, I think in her tribe, she might still start with the power. So we'll see if we don't get that. All right.
She might have to flirt with Mike White.
Who wins the most individual immunities? Which is kind of a complicated one because you got to get far enough to win individual immunities. But we got all these Survivor beast threats. So here are the odds I gave. Jonathan, 8-1 is our favorite. Kyle, Joe, and D at 10-1. Ozzy, 12-1. Savannah and Colby, 15-1. Oregon, Field. Everybody else at plus 125. Jim, who are you taking?
I'm going to take Joe, 10-1. I kind of discussed being interested in him in a run. I think he's a really good individual immunity player. And then can I just take Colby minus 1,500 no? I don't think he gets to there, and I think he's washed athletically. So I want the Colby minus 1,500 no.
Sorry, the book's not offering any no odds on Colby. The book was just trying to tempt any odds that anyone suckered by 25 years ago Colby. I will say, I think Colby has something to prove on this season, and I don't think it's that he can play Survivor. I think he was embarrassed athletically the last time he came out. So I think he'll be ready to at least be like a dude again. But yeah, he was a kind inclusion here. Joe, who's your pick?
Joe got a work call, I think. So should we keep flying? Since
We'll just keep moving. Joe is taking the Field here, which I think, I'll take the Field too. It's terrible odds, but we don't even know if these people are going to stick around that far. So we'll go with Field. All right. We had a bunch of trios here. We're going to pick between, but I'm going to skip over that. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Still in 10 minutes left. Jim, Colby, Ozzy, or Suri, the legends. Who sticks around the furthest? What's your pick?
I went Ozzy. I wanted to be Suri so bad, but I think that she is going to have a massive target on her. Colby, I just don't believe in, so I'll go Ozzy. I think he could easily make it to a round if we have a merge. And then, once he gets there, he can win those challenges. Again, I don't think he's going to win, but I think he could I think he's got a high floor because of his role as a provider.
Yeah, Joe had Ozzy as well. I put that 2-1, Colby plus 150, Suri 3-1. I think Sari could last a little bit, but Ozzy and Colby are so non-threatening that I just feel like one of them is going to stick around a while. Among the winners, Kyle, D, and Savannah. Kyle plus 150, D 175, Savannah 3-1. Who's the winner that lasts the longest of those three? Jim, who's you pick?
I went Kyle. I think we've kind of touched on it in this episode, talking about how he is the one of the three that we kind of have the most faith in. I think D is going to have a massive target. I think Savannah isn't going to click. I'll go Kyle, even though he's the shortest of the odds. I think that's well priced at plus 150.
Yeah.
All right, we're going lightning round. Try to keep your answers quick so we can get this. We got more podcasts to do tonight. We got to talk like actual NBA basketball coming up. So, will someone that debuted before season 20, that was Heroes vs. Villains, will somebody make the final tribal? We only have the yes odds here at plus 600. Both of you don't want any part of it. Any thoughts on this one at all?
Joe, you got any thoughts?
I would say no. I would say no. I think that it's just I think it's unlikely. I think that
I think so too.
Player.
I thought so too, and then I thought, like, would I lay minus 600? And I was like, damn, no, this is a well-crafted number. I just don't want either side of this bet.
All right, I'm taking the yes. I'm Team Jenna. Give me Jenna in the finals, 6-1. All right. Will the season 50 winner be someone that's never played with any of the other castaways? So I believe that is 4 people. Chrissy, Rick Devins, Jonathan, and Genevieve. Yes is plus 900. Joe, Jim, you both basically want only Genevieve. So we all know as bettors, don't pick the one with a group of people. Just bet the Genevieve of it all, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think it's just, I don't need the other ones.
Especially
it was a fun idea of a bet till I made the list and I was like, oh yeah, there's 3 people none of us want anything to do with, and then Genevieve, who was like kind of intriguing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we had over under season 40.5 for the debut of the season 50 winner, which AKA is we're split down the middle. New era 41 to 49 season. There's half the tribe then, half from before. Both of you think new era. I'm going old school. I think there's gonna be like a deference to like revering the legend that deserves to be the representation of season 50 at the end. And we keep talking about all these people are going to be like the bumps on the log that are just around all the way. Those are mostly old bumps. Like those are mostly older people. And I think they're definitely leaning towards wanting to pick in on one of their own a little bit as well. So lean that way.
We're flying through here, but can I say something to support that? Because I think that's a really good take. Especially, we know the 40s. Part of what has people have bumped against in the 40s is it's all fans. So they're definitely looking up to these people from the seasons before. And that's why I was so scared to pick Colby no or Ozzy no, because I do think you're 100% right on that deference. I think that's a good read. Even though
and I think they're just going to want to like hang out. Like people know they need to get Suri out, but people also want to be Suri's friend. Like they're never going to get to hang out with Suri again. So I wonder like, who just wants to be around? So like Mike White is an old school player. Like who just wants to hang with Mike White? Who wants to like hear Christian just talk about all his nerdy stuff all the time? I just feel like some of them, the new players are going to be like going hard. And I think the old school players might not even be caught up to the game, even though they should be at times. And it might like make them less threatening, and then they kind of stick around a little longer. I had an over under for ages. It's effectively the same question for the most part. We went under on the age. Over under 0.5 Y chromosomes for the season 50 winner. Basically, is it going to be a man or a woman? I'll say this. I fit the over under theme. If I was setting the line on this, I'm going to hit you with a live line. Women minus 140, men plus 120. Now who you picking, Jim?
I'm still going with the women. I think the women here, I would honestly like almost make minus 220 or something. I think
wow.
When I look at the people that interest me most, it's like Suri, it's Camilla, it's Genevieve, it's Mike White, who I do think, could represent. It's Joe. It's like 3-2. So what 3-2 is more like minus 150, minus 160. But I think the depth on the women's side is also stronger. So maybe 220 was rich, but maybe minus 180 I think I would make for the women as my live line.
Shouts to Bet She Wins on that one. We love to support the ladies. Joe, any thoughts on this one at all?
I think at the price, I could be interested in men like here for this bet, mainly because I think that for me, like I have 2 women just out immediately. Like I think Savannah and D are out. Like, and I'm not concerned about them. So I think that just from a numbers perspective, then you're looking at it that way. And I also think that like a lot of the women that are coming back, like Suri in particular, is like a target. Like that is somebody that people want out. Like I don't think like I think even like Aubrey, you could say like is somebody that people want out because they're like she lasts forever. Like she stays in the game long. So I could actually see it kind of going the opposite way where maybe like one woman in particular is more likely to win. But I think that overall, I think you might see like a push towards getting some of them out because they're like they've been better players before.
That's a good read. I like that.
So I think that's a good read. Where I kind of came down, I was like, I think you're right about Suri as a threat, Aubrey as a threat, but there are enough of those people that like one or two of them was still going to sneak through deep into the game. I'm coming out swinging here. This is my best bet of the podcast. I'm smashing the minus 140 on the women here. I have as my possible winner picks. I have 7 possible winners, and it's 6 women and 1 man. It's Kyle is the only man, and now we talked about like how dangerous that is. I don't see winner equity on these guys at all. Like either you're Charlie or you're Christian who have dripping with winner equity, and then they don't because they're too threatening, and no one will ever let them stick around that long. Or they're just all these other like bump on a log dudes. Like I think they just whiffed on casting the dudes on this season. I'm excited about a lot of the women. I think they're also the more under the radar people. And that is my best bet on the podcast. That's my bold take as well. I am guaranteeing we're getting a woman winning season 50, Charles Barkley style. All right, here's a fun one. I got to throw this in because I'm happy with this question. Assuming we get a final 3 or whoever the last 3 are, add up the original season number that they're on. So like season 1, season 20, season 43, add it all up. What's the sum? You get 5 choices here. Either it's under 50, so all old school, 20-1. 50 to 74 is 7-1. 75 to 99 is 2-1. That's our favorite, kind of in the middle. 100 to 124 is 4-1. 25 or higher. I had to like figure out, okay, where's the cutoff for 3 all new school? That one's at 3-1. Jim, I'll let you go first.
I love this first of all. I love that you wrote this question. I love that you like priced out the odds. Like it's not just like you jumped to plus 300 for the highest.
I did.
I'm gonna take 100 to 124. I think that gives us 2 new school and 1 like middle school, kind of like in that 115 range, and then getting a little bit longer than those 2 on the either side of it. Is where I come down.
Joe, you're going with the highest number available.
Yeah, I went with the highest number available mainly because of who I think the final 3, like who I have as the final 3. So I just am gonna kind of compounding it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, even among the 40s, it's very backloaded. So there's a lot of like 46, 47, 48, 49. Yeah. So like even if you get like 2 of those, you're almost a lock on the over at that point because nearly like there aren't many people before season 20. So I came up with like 5 or 6 different trios of like, well, what if we had this, this, and this? And I kept getting like 98. So it was like right on the edge of 100. That's why I can have the line there. So the reason I put the 2-1 odds on that group is because that's the one I think is most likely. For the bet, I would take the 4-1 odds with you, Jim. I'm just slightly above that and hope that I was just off by just a little bit. All right. So for the big finish, I gave my bold prediction already. Jim gave his bold prediction already on Charlie Breaking Bad. Joe, do you want your bold prediction on record?
Yeah, Ozzy starts a porno. Like Ozzy starts a porno. That's what we're gonna get. Like he's gonna recruit a player to be in one. Like that's what it's gonna be.
This was a family podcast, Joe. This is a betting podcast.
You just put your child to bed.
Hey, you gotta be over 18 to bet.
Also, I definitely don't. I don't know this. This is, I'm sure, fully speculation. But let's just say that if he did that, it would not be his first time, based on what I know. All right, no odds for this one. Give us your final 3. Give us your winner pick. Jim, final 3 and winner, you're up.
Brandon, way to hit the turbo. We're coming in right before the wire here.
I know. I'm so happy.
Mike White, Genevieve, and Camilla for the win. That will be, I mean, I went with my heart. That is what I think that those 3 would fit really well. I could totally see them clicking, like totally working together as a trio. And it's what I want to see. So I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to log off because I have to run. Bye guys. This was so fun.
See you guys. See you, Jim.
Mine is going to be Rizzo, Genevieve, and Joe. I think it's like 2 from one and then 1 from another tribe. I just think that these 3 could kind of work pretty well together. So I like the combination. I have Genevieve winning, but I think that might just come down to like how they pitch it to the jury. So could totally see, Joe maybe learning something from like his opportunities and stuff. So I just went with Genevieve. I think that she was really good in her season. I'm curious to see how she learns from that and kind of bounces back from that in this spot.
Yeah. All right, Joe, I'm going to give you an option here. I give you my final 3 if you want, or I'm willing if you want. I've got all 24 people like ranked in tiers from like least likely up to most likely. Do we want to give out the tiers and Jim just has to listen to the pod to hear it?
Yeah, let's just torture Jim here.
All right, so here are my tiers. Bottom tier, and this is not necessarily the order I would predict the finishes to be. It's more just like if you're in the bottom, I think you're more likely to finish near first one out. If you're at the other side, you're more likely to win. So my first tier I'm calling burning too fast and too bright. Like these are the people I think come out swinging and go down hard quickly. Is D, Q, Stephanie, Devins, and Rizzo. So I just feel like I don't see any of them very long for the game. I think D is the big target early on that like is holding the new school people together, and then they finally get her out and it's like the game is open now. Like I think she's kind of the one that everything kind of builds around early. So I think she'll be not first one out, but I think she'll be a big target early. Next tier for me is just too threatening to too many people. That is Savannah and then Charlie and Christian, who I mentioned earlier. I just can't see why you would let those people go that far. You have a winner in there. You have Christian, who would have won handily had he gotten far enough. Charlie, who should have won, except Maria, thanks for nothing. So yeah, that's that tier. Here's my next tier: float for a while, comma, meh. So this is just like, I don't really care that you're on this season altogether that much. I don't see much winner equity, and I just kind of made a tier for you. So that is for me, Colby and Ozzy for the dudes. I see Emily and Angelina for the women, where I just see you kind of somewhere in the middle of the pack, and I didn't really have a lot of stock either way. Then I have my wild cards tier. This to me is somebody in this tier is going to be like break my heart and be one of the first few people out. But like you were talking about, you talked about Aubrey, you talked about Sari. They're in this tier for me. They're threatening, but here's my tier. It's Sari and Aubrey, it's Genevieve, and it's Camilla, and then it's Kyle, my one guy. So these are possible winners for me, these 5, but I think like 3 of them will be gone in the first 6 to 8 boots. I don't know who it's going to be, but a couple of them like squeeze through because we can't vote out everyone. And then suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, we let Sari get down to the final 6. Y'all are in trouble now. Like whoever it is out of this group, that's the group that I don't know, but that I'm keeping an eye on. So we're down to 6 names. Here are my bump on a log tier. These are my non-threats that go deep and finish no votes 3rd place. And it's all the guys we keep talking about. It's Coach, it's Joe, it's Jonathan, and then different, but I think Mike White in that tier as well, where I don't really think they're going to give Mike $1 million, but I could see him just kind of like, who needs to vote Mike White out? Like, he's not a threat. He's just going to be around doing whatever, and then he'll be there. So we're down to 2, and these are my winner 2 picks. And I'm just going kind of off the board here. Jenna and Tiffany. I'm putting Jenna and Tiffany in my final 2 with Joe. I'm upset you picked Joe as well because I thought he was kind of a sleeper of just like a be at the end, no vote, 3rd person finalist. I could see a world where I could see him finishing 2nd in this scenario because we talked about where it's like he gets some of those other honor and integrity sort of votes near the end. I could see that, but I loved Tiffany coming into her season. She was a pick that I just really, really liked, and I like her chance to kind of start fresh here. And just, I listened to all the preseason coverage and everything like that. Jenna's interview just really impacted me and stood out. I never would have believed a week ago that Jenna would be my pick, but I'm going to give Jenna as the winner. Season 1 to season 50, Jenna takes down Tiffany and Joe in the finals, and that is your Survivor winner. That's my pick. And that's it from Probst Brandon. Joe, take us home.
So, guys, really hope you guys enjoyed watching this episode of the Cash That podcast. We normally break down NBA slates every single day, or not every day, but I'm basically giving out best bets in one way, shape, or form, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's in my Discord, or through the Action Network. So happy to kind of take a pivot every so often and be able to do something a little bit different. So really exciting season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And Brandon, thank you for taking us through this with another one of the games that you're always so good at developing here.
Yeah, had a lot of fun. Appreciate Cash That listeners indulging our Survivor Dome for a while. I'm sure we'll be occasionally tweeting about it again. We will have, we do, the 3 of us do our draft. We will do probably like a few episodes in. We may be doing a confidence pool as well, sort of like the Bull Mania we've talked about. There will be more Survivor content somewhere out there, whether it's on the pod or elsewhere. We're talking Survivor all the time. So, and we got to see if Ozzy gets his video going for you too. You know, see if your future cash is there.
Right. Just going to be absolutely ridiculous. So, all right. Well, guys, much appreciated. Glad you guys listened. Be sure to tune in for NBA Best Bets as well. I'm sure we'll have Brandon on and Jim on before the playoffs start, or right around the start of the playoffs. So with that, we'll keep you, and let's continue to cash that.